Hey, welcome. I'm happy you're here. Wow, I can't believe this is the very first episode of my podcast. Not every episode is going to start like this. This is the first episode and I want to make an intro and welcome you guys here. The vision for this podcast is to create a space for me and hopefully for you where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you can share every thought, and hopefully you can relate on some level to the things that we will talk about here on this podcast. Now, I only have one request. Please keep the comment section a respectful, friendly space. Feel free to open discussions, share advice, share your own experience. That's what I really want to hear. Now, without further ado, we shall begin. Now, I'm not going to pretend I have this whole thing figured out because I don't, and that's exactly why I chose this specific topic to be the first that we will discuss of many. Now, to give you a bit of context for the people who don't know me, I'm 25. I'm an engineer, technically on paper. I'm currently unemployed, freshly graduated, and I'm kind of lost. Not kind of, very, very, very lost. I'm also panicking 90% of the time. And the more I talk with people my age, the more I share my experience on social media, the more I realize that we're really all in the same boat. And hopefully I put your feelings and my feelings into words with today's episode and we can open a discussion together. So if you've ever felt stuck, confused, or like you don't have the instruction manual for adulthood, this space is definitely for you and I can relate. Let's try and figure this out together. I don't promise we will figure it out by the end of the episode, but at least we will talk it out. I graduated engineering school not too long ago, and instead of feeling powerful and accomplished, I felt completely lost and I panicked because you graduate, the next step, you get a job. And I already got a preview of the job market while looking for my end of studies internship, and it was ugly. It was not pretty. So I was already panicking before graduating. I felt so paralyzed as soon as I got that diploma in my hand. In my brain, it was like I had finally reached the real world, but I had no idea what to do in it. Get a job. That's the logical next step, right? Well, no one wants to hire me, apparently. And the thing is, I wasn't even sure that's what I want to do with my life. Frankly, I'm still not. And those first few months after graduation, where I was panicking and scrolling LinkedIn endlessly every single day, visiting every single job board daily. And in the words of Carrie Bradshaw, I couldn't help but wonder, is this it? Am I just supposed to get a job, start working, that's my life, and if I don't get a job, then I'm not good enough, and I never was? Does that mean I'm a failure? Am I not good? Why did they even give me a diploma? Now, newsflash, and you heard this from me, and whoever is trying in this hellish market, right now, in 2025, it's probably not you, and it's most probably the market. It's not impossible, but it's very hard right now. So don't let it discourage you. I promise this episode is not about unemployment. It's just to give you some context, but I have a point. Okay, let's get comfortable. And you know, it's not even that I'm comparing myself to my friends, because I'm gonna be honest, we're all in the same boat. It's just that I had this timeline in my head. I remember thinking, and this is ridiculous, that by 25, I would have a stable job, a partner, and a child on the way in this economy. That's 16-year-old me, okay? Please don't judge her. But I do feel behind. Behind compared to whom? To this person that I imagined. This person that I have in my head that is supposed to have it all together by the age of 25. And I don't. And I feel disappointed in myself. And I know I shouldn't. Like, I fight every day. I fight my brain to not call me a failure repeatedly in my head. While doing my research for this particular episode, I stumbled upon a Substack article and a sentence really caught my eye and it got me thinking. So the sentence was, think of your 20s as a trial period. As in, here you go, you have a decade to try this life thing from different angles, and you can choose to renew your subscription by the end of it or not. Honestly, I really hope this is just a trial phase, because I don't think I can do this for the rest of my life. I don't think I can feel like this for the rest of my life. I feel like I speak for everyone who feels the same, is that we're in sort of a limbo. Like, we're stuck, we're lost, but we're also frozen. Like, we're not doing anything. Which is why the sentence, your 20s are a trial period, really stuck with me, because I never looked at it that way before. And I know I may sound dumb, but I never looked at it that way before. I was too busy panicking. It's such a smart way to look at your 20s, because to be honest, I started succumbing to the feeling of giving up, sadness. Reading that sentence helped me reframe and regroup, not instantly, but I kept thinking about it for a few days until it clicked. I am unemployed. I am lost. I literally have no idea where my life is going, so I might as well try different things. And if you haven't noticed, this is part of trying new things, okay? And I think it is so important, and I don't know why nobody tells you this. At least nobody told me to try a bunch of different things. Everybody told me to enjoy my 20s, because this is your best decade, apparently. But no one told me to try a bunch of new things in your 20s until you find your thing. Personally, I chose engineering when I was 18. And right now, when I think about it, I think it's crazy when I look back at things and when I think of the whole system, to give an 18-year-old responsibility of a decision that will shape their whole life, or at least a big part of their life. You can disagree or agree with me on this, but I really, really do think that your job and your career represent a big part of your life and a big part of your identity. It's not you, it's not your whole identity. Your job shouldn't be your whole personality, but it does represent a huge part of your life. And at least for me, that's the way I see it. So right now, after 5 years of studies and internships, I look back to 18, 19-year-old Yasmin, and I just wonder if she ever thought this is where we are going to be. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking when I chose my career path, but I remember thinking that I chose a safe career, that I chose something I would be good at. Well, and right now I'm not so sure. But also, I don't see myself doing anything else. And I hope a few of you can identify with what I'm about to say, but I want to work in my field. I want to work with my diploma. I really do. But I'm also really scared. I am scared. I think I've been saying that I feel stuck, that I feel lost. And I think I speak for everyone who can relate to this episode in particular on a deep, deep level when I say that I am scared. I am very, very scared. It all comes down to that. I'm scared. As humans, we are scared of the unknown, and right now my future is very unknown. And I think that's what this decade is like to most. We're all just very, very scared of the future because we have no idea what we're doing. I think not all of your 20s are like this. Personally, for me, as I told you, it really started sinking in after my graduation. And when I say I believe there are a lot who are in the same boat as me, I actually know, not just think this. No, because I talk to you guys on a daily basis, because my friends are my age. But I'm also convinced that we're all going to find our way someday. And I know this is going to sound very cliche, but life is not a competition. It's not a race. You're not behind, and I am not behind. No one is behind no one. We all have our own timeline, and I think the hardest part is convincing yourself of this. So because no one told me this, I'm going to tell you. Please try new things in your 20s. If you have the privilege of not doing anything when you're 24 or 25 after your graduation, you don't have a family to feed, you don't have a parent to take care of, try new things, because you don't know what you are good at. You were good at school, great, but maybe you have some other talent, so give that a try. And by trying new things, I don't mean like start a podcast or start a business or anything. You can try a new routine. You can try waking up earlier every day. You can try learning something new. The internet is free, and what I love about our day and age is that everything is available on the internet. Information is so accessible, and it wasn't before. When our parents were our age, it wasn't. And I think this is brilliant. So learn something new, learn a new language, learn a new skill. You never know what is going to open doors for you. And as I'm speaking, I'm convincing myself of all of this because I remember when I started social media, all I had was my phone and I knew how to edit. So those editing skills, they're not great, but I know the basics. They opened so many doors for me. I met new people. I made some money. It helped me think about something other than the career, the job, the fact that I'm really lost right now when it comes to my professional life, you know? Try to cook at home instead of ordering delivery. Try a new recipe. Try. The key word here is try. Try a bunch of new things until you find your thing. And when I find my thing, I will tell you guys, okay? The important thing you have to remember is none of this has to be perfect. And don't expect it to be. Some of these experiments you will make, they will stick, okay? And others will completely flop. Maybe you'll discover you're a horrible cook and you should never go near a stove or a kitchen ever again. And that's okay. That's the beauty, I think, of treating this stage of life as a trial run. You remove the pressure immediately. I am trying for the sake of trying. I'm just trying. It doesn't have to be perfect. That removes such a huge weight off of your shoulders. You give yourself the freedom to try, the freedom to pivot, the freedom to change. And I really want you to try. I am trying every day, and I really want you to do the same. Something small. A new class, a new routine, a new hairstyle, without worrying if it's the thing you will do forever. And I'm really, really proud of what I wrote here. But think of this as dating different versions of your life until you find the one that feels like your forever partner, feels like home. And honestly, while we're on the topic, do you know who you are? Or if you're older, did you know who you are in your 20s? I really don't. And I feel like in our 20s, we go through so many changes. Changes in our personality, changes in our style, changes in our friend groups, changes in our entourage. So it just feels like you keep shape-shifting during your 20s until you reach your final form, or at least, well, humans never stop changing. So more like a signature form, you know? You use your 20s to establish your taste, maybe a signature scent, your values. I feel like your values are established in your 20s. Your personal style, your food palette, what you like, what you don't like. But mostly the world around you changes. We lose people, we meet new people, we change environments. I mean, has anyone noticed how many friends we lose in our 20s and how hard it is to make new friends in your 20s? This is a story for another day, but once you stop going to school, making friends suddenly becomes very, very complicated. You know what I also noticed is that change in your 20s is fast. The person you're at 21 is not the same you're at 22, and so on and so forth. So if we were, for example, classmates in 2020 and you think you know me, you don't. So when we put it that way, by the time you're 25, you will have a handful of friends and many, many acquaintances. Because those people that you considered friends back in high school, for example, or as soon as you started university, they don't know you. They don't really know who you are, and you don't know who they are. You just know each other's names and an old version of yourselves. Now that I think about it, we have banalized the concept and the title of friend, in my opinion, and we give it to just about anyone. But I will table this conversation for now and elaborate on it in another episode. Now, back to the nightmare that is our roaring 20s. I think one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in our 20s is that everyone has it figured out and you don't. Like there's some secret meeting that everybody attended but you, where they give out this life plan, this instructions manual for life, which is not true. So I thought to give both you and me a little hope, I would share a few stories about people who didn't have it all mapped out, but ended up exactly where they're meant to be. Now, I'm not going to talk about Oprah, because Oprah is a very famous person. Her story is still valid. She only made it in her 30s, and she grew up very poor, but she is also Oprah. It doesn't give me hope at all when you tell me that Oprah struggled in her 20s as well. I don't know why. It just doesn't. I have the stories on my computer, so I'm going to read them to you. There's this girl I know through a friend who was working in finance straight out of university. It was her dream job, according to her family, but she hated it. She started baking on weekends just for stress relief and posting it on Instagram for fun. Long story short, people started ordering from her, she quit her job, and now she has a full-blown bakery with a 6-month wait list for wedding cakes. Imagine just quitting your corporate job to make cakes and it actually working out. The next story I found is also very improbable. There's this guy I read about who studied law for years, fully committed, passed the bar, did the whole thing, then realized halfway through his first year at a big law firm that he couldn't stand it. Instead of pushing through for the paycheck, he left to become a travel photographer. Now he gets paid to explore the world and his work has been featured in magazines. I guess he found his passion. Okay, and this is my favorite. Now, this is a woman who didn't start her career until she was 29, 30, and she spent all of her 20s hopping between random jobs. She was a bartender, she worked in retail, she was a babysitter. She was just trying to get by paycheck to paycheck. And at 29, she decided to take an online course in UX design because she thought it looked cool. So she was just trying something. Now it's 5 years later and she's designing for a huge tech company and she's mentoring others who want to break into the industry. Now what I like about this story is just that she followed a spark of interest. Like UX design just looked cool to her and she just wanted to try it. And that opened the door for her future career. And I share these stories not to say, hey, look, everyone ends up rich with a job and they find their passion, but just to remind you that trying random things, small things, can lead to big changes and beautiful surprises. Sometimes the tiny thing you try is what's going to change your life. And sometimes it's not. That's okay, because you're still learning what works for you. I also found a thread on Reddit where somebody asked, what advice do you have for people in their 20s that feel lost? And I took note of the things that really resonated with me. So I'm going to read them to you. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you and me, we will both feel hopeful. Okay, I need to get a little more comfortable for this. Person you will spend the most time with in life is yourself. Make yourself as interesting as possible. And how will you become interesting? When you try new things. And so many people in this thread are saying literally the same thing. Everyone is just saying that it's okay to feel lost and that they didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives until they were in their 40s. Some people in their 50s. The only thing you can control is you and how you choose to react to the crazy things you will experience daily. And this is so real, and I remember a friend of mine telling me this. During my beginnings in social media, I was going through a rough patch, and one of my friends was like, you can't control what these people are saying. You can't control what's going on around you, but you can control yourself. And she told me, always focus on the things you can control. And her advice really stuck with me, and it really does help. And it makes a lot of sense. And you know what the advice I saved the most, and that is literally 90% of this thread? It's literally this. Try new things, try scary things, try stupid, crazy things. And if it doesn't pan out, you still have decades to reset your journey. So this is what it all comes down to. Try. Now my next advice, I'm not going to read it from a computer. I'm not going to read it from my notes. This is from my heart to yours. Get help. Always ask for help. I learned this not long ago, but it's okay to ask for help if you need it. In this day and age, individualism is reigning supreme, I feel like. From my own experience and from what I've seen around me is that people don't ask for help easily, when technically we are supposed to be a community. And if you need help at work, ask for help. If you need help at home, ask for help. And especially if you need help when it comes to your mental health, ask for it. Because sometimes you're not fine, and that's okay. Sometimes you need professional help, and that's okay. And it can do wonders. Okay, how do we end this? If you're listening to this and you feel very lost, you're not alone. Again, you are so not alone. I'm literally right there with you. I'm not sure yet, but maybe that's the beauty of this decade. We all have no idea where we're going, and we just keep experimenting until we find our own path. I would honestly love to hear from you. What are you testing right now? How do you feel right now? How do you feel at this instant? Where are you in life? DM me, leave a comment. Let's share ideas and cheer each other on. And I'm so sorry if you're in your 30s 30s and your 40s and you feel like I am not speaking to you. But I wanted to start the podcast with, well, what I'm feeling right now. And honestly, what I'm feeling right now, every day, every hour of every single day, is lost and panicked and scared. Next week, we are diving into... I'm not telling you, actually. I'm gonna let you guess. Stick around and find out. Until then, keep testing, keep trying, and remember, it's okay to be loud, even if you don't have it all figured out. Thank you guys for listening, for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. The podcast is available on YouTube and Spotify. Don't forget to follow us on our socials, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys!